personally have talked to the AI, not because I needed to talk to it, but I needed to look at it from a client's perspective.
AI doesn't have the stethoscope, it doesn't have that practice knowledge, it just has information scattered around in its brain.
I think the aspect of loneliness especially is one that is coming to life as days go by.
I'm an AI optimist. I think it will get better.
Human connection requires a lot of effort, something that is not necessarily required in social media.
It frees up time to do other things, I think.
A human being is warm. AI or a robot is not warm.
My name is Shadrack Lilan. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Shamiri. I'd say for me, AI means progress, fun. We could even say worry to some extent.
My name is Veronica Nyawira Ngatia. I am a mother. Like that, how I start my introduction, because it means a lot to me. To a large extent, it shapes how I think about things. I am a wife. I am a student. Another faction that shapes how I think about life. I am a psychologist by profession, a trained therapist, starting to fall in love with research in mental health interventions.
I think the first time I heard of AI, as most people maybe my age who had access to television, was cartoons and robots. The Jetsons, if you remember the house assistant. So I thought that was really cool, and it was a promise for some time. And finally now we're getting somewhere, especially in the last 4 or 5 years. In my mind, it's humanity's attempt to figure out how we think or work or react to situations. The worry comes from things are moving too fast. In some instances, that's a good thing, but in some others, we don't really know the extent of what it could do and what harm could come up. For example, could be mental health, where people talk to the AI as a therapist, and there have been a lot of mixed results, I think, largely on the negative side, where you just go into an echo chamber and you'll not get the help that you need. People could just get trapped in their own bubble or echo chambers very easily. Something that would probably need a few eyes or ears to assist to it, or just talk about, just get condensed into a chat window. And that echo chamber is going to be a problem, because it's a fact now, and we cannot escape this, that majority of young people go to an LLM as a first source of well-being advice.
I think AI is hard to miss, especially in the psychology profession, because one potential areas of the use of AI is in provision of mental health care or mental health support. One of the grappling challenges that we have in the mental health care provision is limited access. What limited access means is there are people in need of mental health care support, but they just can't get it. So because seeing a human being, working with a human being, that is a therapist or a psychiatrist for this case, is expensive, why not have a conversation with AI? And sometimes it can be very calming if you try to talk to AI, it will be validating you in a lot of things. And so we have vulnerable people out there, vulnerable because they have mental health challenges they are dealing with, and they need someone to talk to. If we train models well enough, then they could be part of the solutions. Sometimes it might not resonate with the emotional state of the client or the person who is vulnerable. And sometimes does not read the nonverbal cues. There is a lot someone can type, but there is a lot you can also read from people based on how they are behaving. My heart is pacing, I'm sweating, I'm worried. But then again, it might not cut the fact that I'm shaking, the fact that I can't sit still. The things that I, as a person who is feeding the information to the AI, cannot see, it means I cannot record them to the AI. Whether it fits the bill accurately, that's another conversation to have.
AI doesn't have the stethoscope. It doesn't have that practice knowledge. It just has information scattered around in its brain. Maybe an example in the mental health context would be you can go to a therapist. You still talk to the therapist is the one who's going to work with you, but you can have, let's say, AI in the background, listening in and providing a transcript or some summary, which the therapist can use. So there explicitly AI is augmenting a therapist. It is not the caregiver.
The training of the models has to be intentional. In the software or computer world, garbage in, garbage out. You train the model wrongly, the outcome is going to be wrong. And you're dealing with real humans. You are dealing with issues of safety. You're dealing with human well-being. The AI also needs to be context appropriate for the African context, right? There are things that have been termed as not normal or abnormal, right? Which are very normal in our context. Based on a lot of data sets that the AI could hallucinate from, we need to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate in a way that is contextually inappropriate.
One of the challenges with developing AI for any context, majority of what you find in the training data and maybe the internet is largely, in Western languages. You'd find that it works well for a Western setting, but when you try to apply it here, it's a huge problem. Sheng even worse because there's very, very little written or published formal things in Sheng. So it's a challenge to develop those kind of tools for this kind of context, but it's also a challenge for practitioners in the LLM space that we also need to actively curate content and data that captures our languages, our different cultures.
So we better pilot, experiment, see what is working, not be afraid of going back to the drawing board if we think things are not working. At the end of the day, coming up with a product that serves the people who need it. And in that way, AI can help us close an existing gap in terms of accessibility of mental health care support. Loneliness has pushed people to do things. It can push people to find and seek for answers. And where do they seek then? Because if you're lonely, it means you have very limited social interactions with people. It means you're connected to other spaces. Could be social media. I say there's a lot of people who live a lie in social media. How do you know what is real, what is not real? AI is here to stay. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Someone somewhere put it, we are highly connected people, but very lonely people. So we have thousands of followers on Instagram, people we've never seen, we've never met. But those are also people who exert a lot of pressure on us to do things because we live in a virtual reality of some sort. That's what social media is pushing people towards. Human connection requires a lot of effort because you need to think about what you're going to talk to this person about. You need to walk and actually come out of your apartment, switch off your TV, keep away your phone and actually concentrate on someone else.
The worry is the incentives may not align between the builders and consumers of this AI with regards to well-being. I just want to create the smartest thing out there. For well-being and care, just, you sort it out. That's not my responsibility, how you consume that information. So that's my worry. I'm an AI optimist. I think it will get better. I think through the arc of many inventions, there's always a time when certain things which you considered basic considerations were just not there. But eventually they got there.
There are so many aspects AI, robots can help with. But we know robots are not human. We have our own limitations. I can't do thousands of permutations in a second. No, that's a human limitation. But a computer, a robot, or AI can do that. A human being will look at a context and then speak to you based on the context they found you in, because they can read the cues, lots of cues. I might have come with a prepared presentation, and then I look at the context, and then I put the presentation away, and I decide I'm just gonna speak my mind. And AI will just read the presentation. The context doesn't really matter.
If you can have AI do some of this mundane stuff or maybe semi-hard stuff, then you have all this time to imagine new things or do different things. It frees up time to explore other pursuits. So you could have had this different hobbies or passions or yet to be discovered passions which you couldn't do because of different constraints.
There is some warmth to it. Culturally, in the African setting, an interaction, a relationship between a human and a human, it occupies a special space in our context. And so that has a lot of meaning to me. The fact that you're connecting with a human, I think that's one thing maybe AI cannot replace: human connection.
Human relationships. You have to be present and active, raw, authentic to maintain them. Otherwise it becomes a to-do list, and robots are really good at to-do lists. So what's the point? Yeah.